This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. A man succumbing to gunshot wounds received last night in a shooting incident, becoming the country's latest homicide. Assistant Superintendent of Police Audley Peters in his morning report says the shooting incident took place on Mall Drive off Soldier Road. ASP Peters says initial investigations revealed that it was around 7 p.m. that police received reports of the shooting incident on Mall Drive, and on the arrival of first responding officers, through their inquiries, learned that two males were seated in a vehicle in front of a residence when the occupant of a small vehicle approached them and discharged a firearm in their direction, injuring one of the males. The victim was transported to the hospital via a private vehicle where he later died. Police are now searching for the shooter in this incident. Investigations are ongoing. A woman and man are in hospital nursing injuries following two separate shooting incidents here in the capital on Tuesday. Police say the female was shot to the arm while entering her residence in Tulip Avenue shortly after 7 a.m. The woman managed to drive herself to the Grove Police Station, where emergency medical services was called and transported her to the hospital. Meantime, last night, shortly before 9 p.m., the man was attempting to exit a vehicle on Dentura Avenue, South Beach, when the occupant of the vehicle approached him and shot him several times about the body. He, too, was able to make his way to the East Street South Police Station, where emergency medical services were called and later transported him to the hospital. Both are listed in stable condition in hospital. Police are now on the hunt for the shooters. In news from the court, the man accused of assaulting Stephen Hank Johnson, member of parliament for South and Central Eleuthera, had his day in court. Alexander Williamson stood before Magistrate Carolyn Evans Vogt on one count of threats of death and one count of assault. It's alleged that on January 16th, Williamson attacked Johnson by private home in Coral Harbor. Also, the same day in question, he also threatened Johnson's life. The defendant pleaded not guilty to the assault charge and pleaded guilty to threats of death. Williamson's currently out on a $1,500 bail. The magistrate also granted him bail in the amount of $3,000 with one suretor. He's expected to return to court on April 7th. With the extension of the state of emergency, the Ministry of Education is advising that discussions continue with the Ministry of Health concerning the resumption of face-to-face instructions in public schools. Government schools were anticipating opening on February 1st on New Providence, Abaco, Exuma, and Eleuthera. Here's Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd outside of Parliament this morning with more details.
We are targeted for February 1st, which will not be met, unfortunately, but we do expect, based on our conversations, which we hope to conclude by the end of this week, that we will be able to announce to the Bahamian people a firm date in February for the return of in-person instruction. As I had indicated in my address to the House of Assembly, that it is anticipated that that return will feature the hybrid or the blended model.
Education officials say in its statement that when these discussions are concluded, the Ministry of Education will further engage its stakeholders to determine a firm date for the resumption of in-person instructions. Minister Lloyd also provided an update to school repairs.
They are not completed yet, but they are almost completed, and those that are not absolutely essential, necessary, vital for the return of in-person learning, we are going to delay them. For instance, our focus at this time is all plumbing, electrical, and air condition works must be completed to our satisfaction, and we expect that they will. Building works that can be delayed are being delayed, as long as we maintain one very important ingredient, and that is safety for all concerned, anyone who is on that campus.
As for schools reopening for face-to-face instructions, the public is advised to stay tuned to the Ministry of Education's website and all other media platforms for official updates. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.